Hey, it's Garrett,
It's Andrea.
and welcome to the Daily Devotional.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't feel like this is going to transition well. Let me just say that to begin with. I think this is just one of those things that people don't know about us.
hmm
We have weird stories
hmm
that have happened that people just don't know.
Like weird, like parallel universe. Like, did that actually happen in our lives? Because it's something we wouldn't have planned on.
Yeah, so this is one of those stories um that kind of took place uh I would say over 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while back because you were looking like to write a book and stuff, and we were in a
Hmm.
bookstore looking at things like to write that book,
Yes.
and then you saw this lady, or this lady in the store saw
Well,
you.
and we had a meeting with somebody about my book,
Yeah,
and they said, "Hey, we're not interested in your book." And
right.
so I got a
That's
little
right.
discouraged. So I went and I had gone to this bookstore to see where publishers were. Back then, that's what you did,
Uh-huh.
and or where to get started. And this lady saw me have this book in my hand, and she's like, "This is a God ordained moment."
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, being vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
thought, this is it. This is,
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't this book, maybe this was a stepping stone
Right. We were like, this
to,
was our moment.
yeah, this is my moment. And so a little apprehensive, but she was very, very convincing, very kind of pushy. And so I gave her my information and she's like, I'll be calling you.
Yeah, because like this needs to be said. Like she had this book that she wanted written and she said, "You're the person to do it." Like it wasn't just like, "Oh, she's saying, "Oh, you should do this." She was saying, "No, God said you're the person to do it. We
Yeah.
have this book to be written." It was this whole miracle story
Yeah.
and she was trying to like capitalize on this whole story that
Yeah.
had happened. And so no, it was like, "No, this is what God said."
So, I'm at home for a while and I had written chapters and chapters of this book. It
Mhm.
really was a cool story, but so, at that point,
Mhm.
and we decided to get together at in Branson because that's where she lived. I had to meet some like Tony Orlando's brother because he was helping her write the book, and
Just some other weird, like, other weird Branson celebrity people.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she would like parade us around
Hmm.
town and like we would meet people and we were like backstage and oh no, it was one of the theater's like practice areas and like we
Uh-huh.
just met this really weird guy that was supposed to be a big
Yeah.
person in Branson or something.
There
I don't
was,
know.
yeah, because there was an up and coming show and they
Yeah.
wanted us to see what they were doing. And
Yeah.
so we went back to her house for a little while because they were going to let us go to a show.
hmm
I had no idea that they were going to pull me up in the middle of the show and make me part of the show.
hmm
It got so weird, so fast.
hmm
We go back to her house. She
hmm
starts convincing us that we're reading the wrong Bibles.
hmm
She starts convincing us that
That like
God, oh,
Jesus isn't going to come back,
right,
like all of this stuff.
crazy stuff. It gets weirder from there
hmm
because we went back home kind of quiet. We were like, what just happened?
hmm
Like, this is just insane.
So you need to tell him what she said, like who
Right.
she called herself, like
Well, so I had it kind of went weird after I wrote so many chapters. I just kind of decided like this lady's kind of lost a little bit of her marbles and I maybe through what she went through, but she's just kind of lost it.
yeah,
And I
because
don't
things kept changing.
right. I wrote a thing with her attorneys giving the rights of what I had written away. I just wanted to kind of cut ties and so she still had my number and she kept calling and she left me a voicemail letting me know that God had told her that she was my Moses
hmm
and that I should see her as God.
hmm
And that's when I went, I,
We're done.
yeah, I ran at the right
hmm
time. So that is one of the stories that
Yeah.
we've
It,
gone through. But I brought that up because, I mean, what we're going to talk about today isn't necessarily that, but Moses is brought up in,
mhm. Yeah.
in
It just
chapter
it remind
17.
yeah, it reminded us of that story.
Yeah.
But it is like in Matthew chapter 17, there is something that happens here that
Hmm.
is pretty unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And so like and that's just when we're thinking about what happened, we were like, man, that's I can't believe that was a real part of our lives. But
Yeah, you have those moments where you go, did that really happen? And
yeah.
I feel like mine was maybe negative, but I feel like when you're on a mountain and in front of you is like Moses, Elijah, Jesus in
Hmm.
his godly form, and you hear the booming voice of God, you're not going to forget it. But later on, we read that their faith was little again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy because just a few verses later. So like you said, that all happened. Peter, James, and John, they saw the transfiguration. They saw Jesus in his glory. They saw Moses. They saw Elijah. Like it was like the whole Bible was happening all in one place. And just a little bit later, Jesus is saying, "But you need more faith. If you had even a mustard seed of faith, you could move a mountain."
hmm
And it's crazy to think that something so unbelievable happened,
hmm
to think that there would be never any reason again to doubt or to not have faith. And here Jesus was trying to encourage disciples again, and I just think that can be us sometimes, like when God's done things that are just so big and came through in a great way, and then you're right back to square one where he's saying, hey, even a mustard seed of faith could do something great.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we just prayed and seen God come through and you
Hmm.
sit back and said, man, my faith was so small.
Hmm.
And I think if we really sit back and we see that God is being so loving here and saying, I'm not asking you to have a lot of faith. I'm just asking for a little bit
Hmm.
because he can come through in that little bit. He can come through in that little bit. It's that little bit of light in a dark room that
Hmm.
can just poke through and illuminate.
Hmm.
And I think that's what our faith can be in the darkest of situations. Just that little bit of faith can
Hmm.
really change a situation.